Nora stood in her small apartment kitchen early that morning, pouring cereal while her daughter Mia hummed beside her. Life had been tight since her divorce 3 years earlier, but their tiny world of two still felt warm and safe. She often told Mia, "We may not have much, but we have each other." And Mia always answered, "That's enough, Mommy." Today, though, Nora felt a knot in her stomach. Her wealthy parents had invited them for Easter. She hoped they had changed. She prayed the judging would stop. Yet something whispered inside her, "Be careful this time." Nora grew up in a world where everything had to be perfect. Her parents, Andrew and Laura, controlled every detail of her childhood image. "Sit straight, Nora," her mother often said. "A lady never raises her voice." Their home in Connecticut looked like something from a magazine. Big, polished, and full of rules. As a child, Nora believed those rules meant love. As an adult, she saw they meant pressure. She tried to follow their path for years, but her heart wanted freedom. She wanted a life that felt real. That desire would later cost her her parents' approval. She met Logan in college, a photographer with messy hair and dreams that made him glow. When Nora brought him home for Thanksgiving, her mother's smile tightened immediately. Her father muttered, "Photography? That's hardly a career." But Nora loved the quiet way Logan saw beauty in little things. When he lifted his camera, life looked softer. After 3 years of dating, they married despite every warning. "He's not our kind of man," Laura whispered. But Nora followed her heart anyway. For a while, she believed she had made the happiest choice of her life. Everything changed when their daughter Mia was born. Nora held her tiny hand and whispered, "I'll protect you always." Logan took photos of Mia daily, capturing each new smile and stretch with love. But money struggles soon created cracks in their marriage. Logan worked longer hours, grew tired, and drifted emotionally. When Nora found messages between him and his assistant, her heart shattered quietly. "I never meant to hurt you," Logan said, but the truth was already out. Their divorce stayed calm for Mia's sake but left Nora wounded. She focused on rebuilding their life from scratch. Nora created a peaceful home for Mia in their small apartment. They made star-shaped pancakes on Saturdays and painted colorful scenes on Sundays. Mia filled the home with laughter and curious questions, her bright spirit chasing away loneliness. But Nora's parents never softened. "A single mother cannot raise a stable child," Laura once declared as though reading a textbook. Visits grew rare. Only Nora's brother, David, stayed in touch, urging her to attend Easter this year. "They want to see Mia," he said gently. Against her instincts, Nora agreed. She hoped for kindness. She feared disappointment. On Easter morning, Mia rushed into Nora's room already dressed in her floral pajamas, eyes bright with excitement. "Mommy, are we going to the big house today?" she asked eagerly. Nora forced a smile and nodded. "Yes, sweetie. We're visiting Grandma Laura and Grandpa Andrew." She dressed Mia in a soft blue dress and tied her curls with a ribbon. For herself, Nora chose a simple navy outfit she hoped would avoid criticism. "You look like a princess," Mia said sweetly. As they drove toward Nora's childhood home, her shoulders tensed. The closer they got, the heavier her heart felt. When they reached the long tree-lined street, Nora felt herself slide back into old habits, straightening her posture, steadying her breath, preparing for judgment. Her parents' house looked exactly the same. White pillars, perfect gardens, and a front door that gleamed like polished gold. "Wow," Mia whispered. "Is this really where you grew up?" Nora nodded but added softly, "Our apartment is cozier." Laura opened the door with a stiff smile. "There you are," she said. "We were beginning to wonder." She bent toward Mia. "Hello, Amelia." Mia flinched slightly. No one used her full name except Laura. Inside, the house smelled of lilies and roasted lamb. Nora's brother David rose from his seat and walked over quickly. "There's my favorite girl," he said, lifting Mia into a hug that made her laugh. His wife, Claire, hugged Nora warmly. "We're so happy you came," she whispered. But the warmth faded fast when Nora noticed her mother fawning over David's twins while barely glancing at Mia. Relatives filled the garden, many offering polite smiles that didn't reach their eyes. "Single parenting must be exhausting," Aunt Patricia said sympathetically. Nora forced a smile. "We're doing really well, actually." Throughout the afternoon, Mia tried several times to show her grandmother little treasures. A butterfly she spotted, a drawing she made, a flower she picked. Each time, Laura replied with a quick nod before turning back to the twins. Nora's jaw tightened as she watched Mia's hopeful face fall over and over again. Andrew was no better. When Mia handed him a drawing of his garden, he glanced at it for 2 seconds before returning to a conversation about the stock market. Nora whispered to herself, "Just make it through the day." But the ache in her chest kept growing. Dinner was served on sparkling china at a long formal table. Nora noticed their seating immediately. She and Mia placed far at the end, away from the center where Andrew and Laura presided. Mia stared nervously at the many forks beside her plate. "Just watch me," Nora whispered. "And don't worry about mistakes." But in this house mistakes mattered. When Mia used the wrong spoon, Laura's eyes narrowed. When her roll slipped off her plate, Andrew sighed loudly. Conversation flowed about private clubs and investments Nora no longer understood. David tried including her, but Laura's dismissive tone cut every attempt short. After dinner, everyone moved into the formal living room, a space Nora had always feared as a child. The room felt heavy with expensive furniture and heavier with silent judgments. Mia sat quietly beside her, flipping through a small picture book from her backpack. Relatives chatted about country club renovations and wedding plans. Nora kept her eyes lowered, hoping the conversation would shift to safer ground. But then Laura glanced at her with a tight smile and said loudly, "You know, proper families build strong foundations. These modern setups only create instability." Nora felt her stomach twist painfully. Andrew leaned back in his chair, his voice booming. "Children need structure and 2 parents. That's simply a fact, no matter what people claim these days." Cousin Eric nodded eagerly. "It's true. The statistics about children from broken homes are worrying." Nora saw Mia's small head lift slightly, sensing tension but not understanding the words. Aunt Melanie tried to redirect the talk, but Laura pressed on. "I'll just say it plainly. Single mothers choose their own comfort over their children's well-being." The room went silent. Nora felt her heartbeat hammering. And then she heard a soft voice beside her. "Mommy, what does disgrace mean?" Mia whispered, her small fingers clutching Nora's sleeve. Nora looked down into those confused eyes and knew she couldn't stay silent anymore. She raised her voice gently but firmly. "It's a hurtful word, honey. Sometimes people say unkind things when they don't understand." Laura's face flushed. "I'm only speaking the truth. A child deserves 2 parents and financial stability. Your choices put Mia at a disadvantage." Nora stood slowly, her hand still wrapped around Mia's. "We are a real family," she said. "We are whole. And I won't let anyone tell my daughter otherwise." Andrew shot up from his seat. "You're being dramatic and disrespectful, Nora." But Nora didn't flinch. "I'm being a mother," she said calmly. "That comes before your reputation or traditions." She turned to the room. "Thank you to those who were kind today. Truly. But Mia and I are leaving." She guided her daughter toward the hallway, the room frozen behind them. David rushed after her. "Nora, wait. They didn't mean it like that." She turned with tired eyes. "Yes, David. They did. And you know it." His face collapsed with guilt, but he didn't argue. He simply stepped back. Outside, the cold evening air wrapped around them as they reached the car. Mia climbed into her seat quietly, her usual chatter gone. When they were halfway home, she finally asked, "Mommy, why was Grandma mad at us? Did I do something wrong?" Nora's throat tightened. "No, sweetheart. You did everything right. Grandma and Grandpa just have old ideas about what families should look like." Mia nodded slowly. Like the twins, they have a mom and dad. Nora smiled gently. Families can look different, Mia. What matters is love. And we have plenty of that. When they reached their apartment, Mia had already fallen asleep. Nora carried her inside and laid her on the bed in her blue dress, brushing curls from her forehead. As the room grew quiet, Nora finally let go of her strength. Tears poured freely. Tears for her childhood, tears for her daughter, tears for the weight she had carried alone. Her phone buzzed non-stop. David called 3 times before she answered. "I'm so sorry, Nora," he said. "Mom was out of line." "Dad too," Nora whispered. "And you sat there." His silence confirmed the truth she already knew. "They're talking about cutting you off completely," David said quietly. "The inheritance, the family name. All of it." Nora let out a hollow laugh. "David, they cut me off years ago. I've built a life without them. Losing something I never relied on isn't a punishment." David exhaled shakily. "What can I do?" "Soften. Decide the kind of man you want to be. Not the kind they want you to be." After they hung up, more messages arrived. Aunt Melanie urging her to apologize, Cousin Eric blaming her for the ruined holiday, and Claire sending a gentle, "Here for you." The most unexpected message came from Logan. David had apparently told him what happened. "I'm sorry," Logan wrote. "Mia deserves better than judgment. You did the right thing walking out." His words felt strange but comforting, like an old wound finally being acknowledged. That night, Nora took a deep breath and wrote a long email to her parents. She set clear boundaries. No criticism of her parenting, no insults about single mothers, no comparisons between Mia and the twins. "Until you can respect these boundaries," she typed, "we will not attend family gatherings." She clicked send without hesitation. Their response arrived the next morning. It was exactly what Nora expected. Defensiveness wrapped in artificial concern. "You misunderstood our intentions," Laura wrote. "We only want what's best for Mia." Andrew added, "We could still support you financially if you made more stable choices." Nothing resembled an apology. Nothing acknowledged the pain they caused the little girl. Nora did not reply. Instead, she took Mia to the park after school. They played on the swings, shared ice cream, and laughed until Mia's cheeks turned pink. Nora promised herself that this joy, safety, unconditional love would always come first. Weeks passed, and Nora found herself focusing on healing. She took on new design projects, building a name for herself through steady clients and glowing reviews. A coworker referred her to a children's book publisher who loved her bright, playful style. The offer for a 4-book series felt like a lifeline. Mia thrived in kindergarten, making friends easily and asking deep little questions about life. Nora joined a single parents group, forming friendships with other moms facing similar challenges. One of them, Sarah, became her closest friend. Their daughters clicked instantly, creating a small but beautiful support circle. Over time, Nora noticed Logan becoming more consistent with Mia. He arrived on time for visits, asked thoughtful questions about her schoolwork, and even stayed longer on weekends to help with bedtime. One Sunday evening, he paused at Nora's doorway. "I don't want Mia to ever feel the way your parents made her feel," he said quietly. "Like she's not enough." Nora met his eyes for a brief moment. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was honesty. Their co-parenting began to ease, step by step, until conversations felt less sharp and more like two people rebuilding respect for their daughter's sake. A month after Easter, Nora received a call from her parents' longtime attorney, a calm man named Mr. Clark. "Nora," he said, "I believe there are matters you should hear from me directly." Her heart tightened. "Is someone ill?" she asked. "No," he replied gently. "But your father's financial firm is under federal investigation. There are allegations of mismanaged accounts, hidden fees, and possible tax violations." Nora stared at her kitchen counter in disbelief. The man who lectured her endlessly about responsibility was now facing possible charges. "Why are you telling me this?" she finally asked. Your parents, Mr. Clark continued, are concerned about appearances. They want the family to appear united during this difficult time. He cleared his throat. They hope you will attend the company's anniversary gala next month. Nora let out a slow, ironic breath. After calling her a disgrace, after embarrassing her daughter, after rejecting her boundaries, they now wanted her as a prop. Thank you for telling me, she said, but I'll need time to think. That evening she called Sarah for clarity. They want you to pretend everything is fine. Sarah asked, stunned. That's not family. That's damage control. Nora thought long and hard about what Sarah said. She didn't want to carry bitterness, but she also refused to be a decoration in her parents' public image. What would I want Mia to learn from this? She whispered to herself. The answer came instantly. Strength, not silence. The next day, Nora called her parents and agreed to meet them at a quiet cafe. Mia stayed home with Sarah. When Laura and Andrew arrived, they looked smaller than she remembered. Their confidence dimmed. Nora folded her hands calmly. All right, she said. Let's talk. Andrew began immediately. You've heard about the investigation. It's an attack on our reputation. Nora said nothing. Laura leaned forward stiffly. We need the family to stand together. Your presence at the gala will show stability. Nora swallowed a bitter laugh. After what you said at Easter. Laura exhaled sharply. I may have chosen my words poorly, but I spoke out of concern. Nora held her gaze. Saying my daughter's life is inferior isn't concern. It's cruelty. Andrew jumped in. This isn't about emotions, Nora. We're offering financial help if you cooperate. Perhaps money for a house. Nora leaned back, her voice steady. I'm not for sale. If you want a relationship, we can work on one. But I won't pretend for strangers just to protect your image. Laura's eyes narrowed. You're being dramatic. Nora shook her head. No, I'm finally being honest. Before Andrew could argue again, he suddenly gripped his chest, his face tightening in pain. Richard! Laura cried, rushing to his side. Despite everything, Nora moved quickly, guiding him into a safer position. Someone call an ambulance, she shouted. The cafe staff scrambled, fear spreading through the room. Paramedics arrived within minutes and took control. Nora helped her trembling mother into the car to follow the ambulance. During the drive, Laura whispered, Is he going to die? Her voice trembled in a way Nora had never heard. He's in good hands, Nora reassured, keeping her own panic buried. At the hospital, they waited side by side in the silent waiting room. Laura clutched a tissue, her eyes distant. We were happy once, she murmured. Before everything became about money. Nora listened quietly, surprised to hear vulnerability from a woman who had always spoken with polished certainty. A doctor appeared at last. Your husband experienced a stress-related heart episode, he said. Not a full heart attack, but a serious warning. Relief washed over Laura. Later, when they entered Andrew's room, he looked older than Nora had ever seen him. She approached his bedside. You need to rest, she said softly. But he shook his head. Not now. The firm needs me. Even lying there with monitors beeping around him. He clung to control. When Nora drove Laura back to her car, she said gently, This doesn't change the boundaries I set. Laura nodded, tired and shaken. That night, David called again with heavy news. The firm lost its biggest client today, he said. 3 more are leaving. If this keeps up, they'll be bankrupt. Nora closed her eyes. What about you? She asked quietly. I'm looking for other jobs, he admitted. I should have stood up for you that day, Nora. I'm sorry. His voice cracked with honesty. Nora felt her anger soften into sadness. It's not too late to grow, she told him gently. Just choose better from now on. For the first time, her brother sounded like a man searching for real direction. Months passed, bringing slow but steady healing. Nora's graphic design business flourished with new contracts and steady clients. She built a small but joyful community with Sarah and 2 other single parents, all supporting one another through busy schedules and unexpected hurdles. Mia blossomed in kindergarten, drawing, reading, and asking endless thoughtful questions. Nora felt lighter than she had in years. She realized that without her parents' expectations weighing her down, she could finally breathe. Mia came home one day saying, "Mommy, our family is the best." And for the first time, Nora believed it without doubt. One afternoon, Mia came home excited about a school event. "Mommy, we need partners for the spring fair." Nora smiled. "We can do it together." Before she could say more, the doorbell rang. It was Logan with a small bag of art supplies. "Thought Mia might like help with her project," he said. Their co-parenting rhythm felt smoother now, built on quiet respect. Logan stayed to help Mia paint colorful shapes on posters for the fair. As Nora watched them work side by side, she felt a strange peace. Their family didn't look traditional, but it was finally healing. Soon after, Nora received news from David. "The firm is collapsing," he said. "Dad may face charges. They're selling the house." Nora felt a rush of mixed emotions: sadness, disbelief, a strange sense of closure. The mansion had shaped her childhood, defined by strict rules and silent expectations. "Are Mom and Dad okay?" she asked quietly. "Not really," David answered. "But Mom, she's different. After. She asks about you and Mia." Nora didn't know what to make of it. People could change, she believed, but only if they truly wanted to. For Mia's sake, she hoped it was true. As spring warmed the city, Nora began seeing more of a gentleman named Ben, a science teacher she met at a school fundraiser. He understood complicated families, and he never pressured her for answers. One evening, after helping Mia feed ducks at the park, he said softly, "You built something beautiful, Nora. You should be proud." She felt her heart open a little more. Mia adored Ethan, Ben's son, and the children played like siblings already. Nora didn't rush the future, but she welcomed the quiet possibility blooming in her life, something grounded, kind, and steady. By summer, David and his wife had moved into a smaller home, leaving the old lifestyle behind. Nora and Mia visited their backyard often for casual dinners filled with laughter, mismatched plates, and running children. One evening, David pulled Nora aside. "You were right," he said. "Life feels better without all the pressure." Nora squeezed his hand. "I'm glad you're finding your own path." It meant everything to her that her brother was finally free from expectations that had weighed them both down. Mia adored her cousins, and for the first time in years, Nora felt welcomed without judgment. When Mia's 6th birthday arrived in early autumn, Nora planned a small party at the park. Cupcakes, games, simple decorations. She never expected her mother to appear at the edge of the field, holding a wrapped gift and wearing an expression Nora had never seen: humility. Ben whispered, "Take your time," before returning to help the kids. Nora walked over cautiously. Laura spoke first. "I wasn't sure I'd be welcome, but I couldn't miss Mia's birthday." Her voice trembled slightly. "I brought her a book, one I used to read to you." Nora felt her guard soften just a little. Mia paused when she saw her grandmother, unsure how to react. Nora knelt beside her and whispered, "It's okay, sweetie. You can say hello." Mia approached shyly. "Hi, Grandma." Laura knelt too, offering the package. "Happy birthday, Mia." Inside was a book of fairy tales. "Thank you," Mia said politely, her natural kindness shining through. Throughout the party, Laura stayed quiet, observing the laughter, the simple games, the families blending naturally. She watched Nora move with ease, serving cupcakes, tying balloons, comforting excited children. It was a world Laura had never understood before, but now she wanted to. Before leaving, Laura asked Nora for a moment alone. They walked a short distance away from the crowd. "Your home, your life, it's peaceful," Laura said softly. "And Mia, she's thriving." Nora nodded but said nothing. Laura swallowed hard. "I'm learning I was wrong about many things. I can't change the past, but I want to try now. Slowly, if you'll let me. It wasn't a perfect apology, but it was real. Nora breathed deeply, feeling years of tension loosen. We can move slowly, she said. But Mia comes first. Laura nodded with genuine understanding. Winter arrived with gentle snowfall. Ben invited Nora, Mia, Ethan, and their close friends for a holiday dinner at his home. Nora felt pulled into a world she had created, one filled with love, support, and people who cared without judgment. After dessert, Nora found Laura standing quietly by the Christmas tree, touching a handmade ornament Mia had created. "Blue is still my favorite color," Laura said softly. Nora smiled. Mia remembered. They shared a quiet moment that felt like the first true connection of Nora's adult life. Healing wasn't instant, but the door was open now. Later that night, after everyone had left and the children were asleep, Nora and Ben sat on the couch, warm light flickering from the tree. Ben held her hand gently. "You've come a long way," he said. Nora looked around the cozy living room. Ethan's toy car on the rug, Mia's sweater draped over a chair, the feeling of home filling every corner. "I finally understand something," she said softly. "Family isn't about rules or appearances. It's about kindness, respect, love, and sometimes letting go of what hurts, even if it's from the people who raised you." As the year closed, Nora tucked Mia into bed one night. The little girl looked up sleepily and whispered, "Mommy, our family is perfect." Nora smiled, brushing a curl from her forehead. "Yes, sweetheart, it is. Because family is about love, not who's in the picture." She kissed her goodnight and stepped into the hallway, feeling a peace she had never known. She had survived judgment, heartbreak, and old expectations, and built a life full of authentic joy. Nora realized she hadn't lost a family. She had created one, and it was stronger, warmer, and more real than anything she left behind.